all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, we have the Lakai here, and she's a beautiful and exceptional world-class author, speaker, educator, self-love coach, visual artist, and musician. And while I have just met Lakai, her name actually to her means freedom. And I just think that to anybody listening or watching sums her up in a nutshell. And it seems like you wear many different hats and have many different talents, but I also am aware with what I've looked into, you know, on your social media and your website platform, is that you have such a huge gift of being able to help people kind of acknowledge their fears and guide them through loving themselves and letting it go. So would you speak to what your superpower is in a way, and what gift you bring to the world, and where you've come from really with it all?
Thank you. I first want to say thank you so much for having me, man. I think it's so incredible that I'm able to connect with you on the other side of the world. So
right.
that's super exciting to me. So I first want to say thank you for that. And say, what's my superpower? Wow. I think my superpower is like self-love alchemy, like just kind of tapping into creating a powerful connection within, and just teaching people how to do that, you know, and teaching people to just show up in the most authentic, raw way, like, and don't expect that to look perfect, just progression over perfection. And so I think that's my superpower, just self-love alchemy, for sure.
And the progression over perfection, even just on a, like, completely stripping it back to real life right now, the fact that you're in a car right now, it's like, I don't know if you're in between doing things right now or if you've just seen your mum. It's like, we can make these things work in whatever situation that we're in, and it's not about doing anything like crazy over the top. And when I speak to the word of like superpower, it's like, what's your thing that you do that you think like, oh, it's not that special, but everyone's like, hey, Lakai, like that is what you bring to the table, like every single time. And you know, even just the fact that we are able to meet at this hour, at this time, to me it shows that you show up in each situation. And yeah, I just wanted to like acknowledge that in yourself, of like, you seem like someone who shows up despite the circumstance or despite
I
what's
do my
going
best.
on. Yeah.
For sure.
So speak to your journey with how you came through all of this. Like most people that I seem to talk to, or who I resonate with when I look at their content, this hasn't been, I don't want to say easy journey. It's like easy in a sense of like, of course, this is what I'd be doing. There's nothing else that I'd rather do, but I'm sure that hasn't come without adversity and challenge. So yeah.
Right. I think well, I think what kind of sets me apart, or my specific unique journey, is the alchemy comes with it comes through creating. I created through music, I created through art, and I created through literature. I actually have 4 books that are out right now. I have tons of music and preparing to release more music, and I'm also a visual artist, so I paint. So it's just like I express and help people get to that point through all of those different avenues. So I think that's the special part about it. But what actually brought me to this path was having to learn how to teach myself about love. And I think that heartbreak is one of the things that kind of set me steady on the path. Yeah. And it wasn't like the average heartbreak that like this person broke my heart. It was just a realization that the way that I was approaching life and relationships, I was breaking my own heart. Right. So I got to the point to where I had to make a decision to say, you know what? No matter what happens, no matter who comes and goes, it's just me, you know, and I have to make peace with that. It's like, you hear the expression, everywhere you go, there you are. So it's just like, I had to with like, this is the vehicle, this is how I'm showing up. And, it'll probably be another 50 years and this is how I'm showing up. So I need to make peace with the person in the mirror, So that realization set me on this path consistently. And then there was a realization, like, if I'm learning how to love myself, even at the age that I am now, there has to be 1,000 million other people that are probably having the same struggles,
Mm-hmm.
And how can I be of service to other people? So that's kind of what set me on the path to say, hey, I can use my talents, I can use my gifts to express, and maybe offer some tools so that other people maybe don't have to struggle as much as I have throughout my life.
And there's beauty in the struggle. I think that's what I love about what you do, Lakai. I keep going to say lucky because, like, I feel lucky to be speaking with you. So it feels like, oh, it's lucky. Like, it has to be that.
I'll take that. That's that.
But it's like every single thing that you do, whether it's visual, audio, written, in literature, it's like there is beauty in the challenge and there's beauty in the story. And I love that you are able to express that in a way that other people can relate to, because I'm sure that, your writing isn't for everybody or your songs aren't for everybody, but the person who listens to that and resonates with that is like, that's exactly who it was made for. But coming back to you have to love you, it's like you have to do the music for you and you have to do the painting for you because it feels right, and then it will be as a natural byproduct just giving back in the way that you most authentically share. So yeah. Yeah, sorry, I thought you were going to say something because I know there's a lag.
No,
I was like,
I was just agreeing because I think one thing, one of the hardest things for us to embrace, and a lot of it is just how we are conditioned to think, and I know that, you may have different cultures that may teach acknowledging and taking care of yourself first, but in the culture that I was raised in, it's more of put people first or make sure other people are happy before you do it for yourself, and I think that's a dangerous way to approach life. You end up with the people pleasing disease, and you end up making sure everybody else is good, and we tend to be loyal to everyone except ourselves,
Totally. And I think my girlfriend describes this really well. And I think there's an element of this is how I do learn in life. She's like, Lolly, are you a hot plate girl? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, I'm a hot plate girl. And I was like, tell me about that. And she goes, well,
a hot plate girl?
A hot plate girl. She's like, I tend to touch the hot plate first and then I work backwards. And I'm like, holy shit, this is like the best metaphor. Like it just, I think it sums up how a lot of us go through life. And like, I mean, I'm all for adventure and variety. That's definitely some of my core needs that keeps me in a state of like flow and creativity. But I know there's also an unhealthy level of like always wanting to touch the hot plate and working backwards. And like what you offer, like you said, you want to be able to teach people things without them having to go through X, Y, and Z. But sometimes people are going to go through that regardless of whether they're loving your art and getting from your art. They're going to have to experiment or rebel. And and I just think it's such a, like, I don't know, I love anybody who tries to, not even tries, like nails it in the fact that they start their own business, they do what's coming from their heart, because that is scary as shit, right? Like I don't know about you, but I'm sure you felt that you had all of this like creative juice inside of you from a very young age, but of like, how the hell do I get this out to people? Like, because you're obviously benefiting from it and you're like, I know I can share this, but like, how? So yeah,
you know what, it's scary. It takes a lot of courage to make that decision, and it's a new decision for me. Like, creativity, of course, is not new for me. I've been creating for a long time. I've been doing music since I was probably professionally since I was like 15. But I had to shed so many layers till I got to the point where I can show up as myself and not be swayed by how the industry was expecting me to show up. So it takes a lot of courage to kind of step out from underneath the umbrella of what's considered to be normal, and just kind of create your own. And I very recently have started my business called Self Love is Freedom. So I have a company called Self Love is Freedom LLC, and everything falls under that umbrella. But in creating it and making the decision, I was afraid, and I was just like, how is this going to work? And until I got to the point to where I exhausted myself, like, listen, either we're going to do this or we're not. I had to have that conversation with myself and say, you know what, just see how it goes. Because it's either that or you're working for someone else for the rest of your life. And how can I tell other people to face their fears if I'm not facing my own,
Totally, girl.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know whether whether you tell your story through your songs and your writing, like, because I'm a writer as well, and I sing and play, so I'm just like, girl, I need to hear your stuff, so, and send some stuff over to you or something. I don't know. I think that's like, because like you just give me the best vibes. As soon as we came on, I was like, this chick's amazing, which is obviously why like I've been saying to people, we think that there is like a level of a filter and we're on a 2D screen, but I've been saying to my sister so much, like, I can tell who is going to be good when I ask them to come on the podcast. It's really weird. It's like, I don't even know who I'm reaching out to half of the time, but I just have this feeling of like, this person has something that I know is going to be incredibly valuable. And I'd just love to know, when you step into your creativity, is it when you're struggling, or is it more so when you're in a state of like everything's good and everything's flowing? Because for me, it's certainly when shit isn't going well, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I want to say thank you. You're amazing as well. I think that the universe aligns it to where we find people at the right time. You know, and I'm sure that's what this is. We find each other at the right time. I think that for the majority of my life in writing, it was an escape. It was how I expressed myself. And some of it was pain and discomfort, and how do I get past this point, and how do I grow? But more recently, it is, I want to do this because I love it, and I love getting into the flow. So that's a big change for me. Because I always told myself, I don't want to just write from pain. I don't want to just create from pain. I want to find a way to create because I want to create, and that's a big deal for me, to be able to grow to the point to where I'm just like, oh, okay, you just know how to tap in now and just create. But it most certainly, there are plenty of songs I have that talk about pain and talk about what I'm going through in the moment, what I experienced in a relationship. So yeah.
And like attracts like, doesn't it? When you're in that state, it kind of feels good to be talking about that pain in a really weird, sick mentality in a way. Like, because I can no, it is like, and I think, it's great that you have the ability to put it in like a song format where maybe someone goes, that's an epic song, and you're like, yeah, the time that I was writing that, though, I know the state that I was in. Right. I'm
Yeah,
so
because
curious to hear your stuff. I'm so excited to get amongst
I'm gonna
it.
make sure that we do that, and
Yep.
I'm actually gonna be releasing music very soon too. But I
Yes.
also I'm kind of learning about the other side of music and how it actually programs us as well. So
Mm,
now I'm a lot more careful. Like I'll tell a story, but I'm also careful about what I create. Because I'm like, how many times do I want to walk around and repeat this shit? You know what I'm saying? If it's not,
right.
if I'm creating from pain, do I want to run around singing this shit over and over again? No, So I'm very meticulous about that part now. Like I pay attention to. I'm like, let me pay attention to what I'm putting out in the universe. So yeah.
And we don't know who our message is hitting. Like that's, even from when we're at the grocery store and we're having a bad day or whatever it is, like I don't tend to take it out on other people. I don't feel like you would either, but it's like in every moment we have the opportunity to influence, and we literally don't know who's watching, who's listening, where the hell your song's being released to. Like I guarantee you half, like maybe 99% of the listeners like wouldn't send you a message and go, hey, Lakai, I heard your song and it blah, blah, blah. Like people don't tell you, so you don't get feedback. And
Right.
if you're putting out messages of pain or love, it's like, which one are you actually wanting to be heard?
Right.
Like,
Right. Yeah. So
yeah.
music can actually be very, very be dangerous, even with how we're feeling and what we're drawing in. Like I think about all of the about how stories are told about relationships within songs. Like even the parts about how I can't live without you, I can't breathe without you. You complete me.
No,
It's like
sir.
dangerous. And it's just like this now 20 years ago, I never would have thought about that. I never would have thought about that. But the more conscious and aware driven I've become, I'm just like, oh, what is this really doing? Like what is this really saying? Like how desperate does it sound to tell someone you can't live without them? And that's no shade, but it's just like, bro, that's not a position that you want to be in. Like you want to be able to be okay whether a person leaves tomorrow or not. You may miss them. You may, you'll experience the hurt of separation, but it shouldn't be at the point to where you feel like you can't go on with your life if a relationship is over.
And that's it. Like that is the epitome of the attachment world that so many people live in, because songs say that, but prior to you meeting that person, you were living, weren't you? Like you could live without them.
You
like
were just fine.
You were just fine, and you're gonna be
just fine.
You crack me up, and I feel like you will appreciate this, and this is why I'm sharing it, because yesterday I was talking to another gorgeous girlfriend that I had on for an episode, and she said something, and immediately my mind went to, I have to write a song about this, but maybe I'm handballing it to you. I don't know if it'll resonate. But so many people say, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. And I'm like, in my head, it's like benefit of the doubt. No one's benefiting from doubt. And it just is like, like the things that we say and condition ourselves to, of like, it just sounds so normal, and it sounds so, it's not making an impact or whatever. And as soon as I said it, she was like, holy shit, like I've been saying this my whole life. Like, what?
You know what? Words create worlds. They do, and it's just like there are a lot of expressions that we say that it's like, man, we are weaving a web. It's like, do you even know what you just said? Word magic is very new to me. It's very new to me, but I'm zoning in on it more and more to say, man, this is like, you creating a spell with this shit. Like you are literally binding yourself into this scenario, So mind your words. It's very, very important. There's a part in the book that I have a book called 50 Ways to Love Yourself Now, the official self-love manifesto. And self-talk and speaking life is a chapter within that book. And it talks about, don't set yourself up for failure with the words that you express to yourself as well as to others, is you can either speak life or death. Also the book that a lot of people follow religiously, the Bible, it also says life and death is in the power of the tongue, right? So there's so much life in your words, Yeah.
And then it even traces back deeper than that. Like, if we're speaking that, have we been thinking that? And it's like our thoughts create a lot of, I feel like our thoughts create our reality, really. And that's, the power of manifestation. And people go, oh, that's all that crazy stuff. And it's like, no, I've thought about everything that I've created, and I guarantee you did as well. And it's like, and you can create yourself into a well, you can create yourself into this freaking amazing human being that you are, that's like owning with the self-love is freedom, and really seeing your books come to life and your words like have breath in them. And it's like, this feels so exciting to get to that point where you're like, oh shit, like I finally understand what my message is to get across to people. And often like the message isn't usually that new. Like it's like COVID. Change and fear is nothing new. Oh, nothing? You're muted. How about now, girl?
I'm not sure what happened.
Are we good?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, I can hear you now.
Cool. I'm going to put my headphones back in. We'll see. That going. We good?
Cool, I can hear you. Yeah, you good.
Maybe our words got a bit too much for the internet. It was like can't handle two of us.
Yeah.
I think what I'm loving so much about doing these interviews really kind of sporadically and randomly with people that I've almost barely met is the messages that come through. Like, I have such a deep passion for music as well. And I'd love for you to tell me about what it was like growing up in your world, because you said music is something and writing is something that's been a part of your life for a very long time. So I'd be curious whether that was in your family or what background it is exactly.
Yeah. My family is very musically inclined. My mother, especially in the 80s, she was actually an R&B singer. And so my father is a musician as well, plays the piano, I believe the trumpet or the trombone. My brother plays the trombone, piano, the drums. My younger brother, beautiful voice. So yeah, my family is very, very musically inclined. My brother was actually a drum major in high school. So like, yeah, music is runs deep in my blood. So it's definitely I would definitely say it's my first love for sure.
I'm adopting myself into your family, by the way.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Come through. Yeah, my family we love. Even now, we love music. And my mom has a beautiful voice. Yes, and she's a part of that is what inspired me when I was younger to create. I would hear her sing, and she whistles like a bird. And she whistles like a bird. Yeah, and that in itself, I'm just like, whoa. I can barely put my lips together and push out a sound. Yeah.
She gave you another gift, I'm sure, through what would you say is your like Ugh, I don't even know if I want to ask that question, because it's like, you know, asking a favorite bit of music is like asking what your favorite meal is. It's like it's different at different
Yeah, it
times,
changes.
you know?
It definitely changes.
Yeah.
Right now I love jazz and R&B.
Nice.
No matter how old I have been, though, I've always loved R&B. Although musically, I am an MC. Like I create rap. You know, I write R&B. I've written for other artists, but I would be what's considered a rapper. And my music is more like positive and uplifting, but I love R&B. I've always loved R&B, rhythm and blues. Always loved rhythm and blues. But right now I'm heavy on jazz and probably jazz, hip hop, and R&B. Yeah, those are my favorites right now. But it
That
does
is,
change from time to time. Yeah.
I would have picked that from you. I was going to say, I'm like, without assuming, I was like, you remind me so much of one of my girlfriends. Just the way that you speak sounds like a rap. And it's like, I feel like, no, it like gets me pumped. I'm like, I'm going to be that annoying white chick that's like, you're amazing. Like, I just want to be your friend and like hear everything that you say, because it's like, I'm sure you have teachers or people that you listen to of like, they could literally say anything, like, I'm just putting avocado on toast, but it would sound cool if you said it. Like,
Yeah.
and you give me that kind of vibe with what you say. It has this sort of energy that you punch out in the way that you deliver it. And I think that that is something so special to you. Like, you wouldn't even be thinking it. It's just the way that, you know, you have, it's just like the way that I talk, it's the way that you talk, and it's in you. And it's just so yeah, I find that so amazing, because it's something that I've wanted to move to in my music. I wanted to be a better MC. I wanted to bring a little bit of rap in, but I'm just like
Okay.
but I
that would be amazing.
I reckon we'll have to like collab or something, girl, because I
Let's
think
do it.
my natural style, I'll send you some songs through and you can send some through to me. But I've got like I feel like my strength is in the writing, and then the singing side is probably more Alanis Morissette style. So it's like not even close to rap, but like in my head,
Yeah.
I just want to be like a rapper. And I'm like, that's not you, girl. Like, you just
I feel you. Yeah, yes, we definitely we can definitely do a collab. It'd be nice to do a collaboration with an Australian artist. That'd be dope.
That would be epic, girl. And I just feel like, you know, when all of the travel restrictions come up, like this sort of shit is like, I know I'm gonna meet you in person. I just have that feeling of like, I don't know where we're gonna meet, whether it's gonna be in your hometown, my hometown, or somewhere in between, but it's gonna be like, wow, I feel like just talking to you is like meeting an old friend of, man, how long have you been away for? You never said hey.
Right. Yeah, hey man, I think it's a blessing to find those type of connections. So yeah, we'll definitely meet in person one day for sure.
Bring it on. Woo. As for your teachers, Lakai, like, who would you say are like your role models and mentors that got you through discovering self-love and finding your own freedom?
But I would definitely say one of the first people that kind of that I came across was Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer kind of got me into the meditation vibe. Are you familiar with Wayne Dyer?
I don't know him, no.
Hey man, good. Hey, YouTube that thing.
Wayne Dyer.
Wayne Dyer on YouTube. Amazing. He's transitioned some years back, but he's amazing person. My best friend, Montez Wells. She is incredible, and she's been my best friend for we've been friends for over 20 years. So we've been friends since teenagers, and she's helped me out a lot on this journey too. She's actually a professional certified life coach, mainly a manifestation coach, but we've still helped each other out a lot on just the self-love journey. Let's see who else. Who else has been super helpful? I think those are the two people that kind of stand out for me right now. Mark is I want to make sure I get his name right. 1 second.
No worries.
let me pull Mark up and see what his Mark Allen.
Mark Allen.
Mark Allen, yeah. He has some books out. He owns a publishing company as well. I believe he's a musician, but he has this meditation called the Pillar Meditation that I absolutely love. But I'm also really drawn to his vibe because he approaches his approach with becoming a millionaire and becoming successful. He encourages people to do it in a way that's authentic to you, and his is like a more easy, relaxed manner. So he doesn't believe in the break your neck, work hard, don't sleep, don't. He's just like, nah, I wake up at noon and I'm still a millionaire. and I'm like, oh, I don't sleep until noon, but I do want to snooze until about 8ish, 9ish, So, totally. And I definitely vibe with the do what feels right for your spirit, because your journey doesn't have to necessarily look like somebody else's. So I love Mark Allen's approach to things too. Of course, I love Jay-Z. That's like one of my favorite artists. Yeah. Definitely love him. And there are people that are close to me that influence me greatly as well. My daughter is a big influence for me too. She's an amazing little human. She's not so little anymore. Like not next week, the 11th, which is like Sunday, she'll actually be 21. Yeah, so I have a whole 21-year-old. Yeah, she's pretty amazing.
What's her name and what does she do? What do you think her superpower is?
Her name is Amaya. Amaya Janae. Yeah, and she is a superpower. Her superpower. She's hilarious to me. Her superpower. She's very witty. She's quick draw McGraw on the comebacks. But I would say her superpower right now, I think that she's still molding that. She's kind of learning life and figuring things out and figuring out what direction she wants to move in as far as career. She's a college student right now. Yeah. But I can't wait to see how she shows up in the world, like, on a larger scale. But right now she's just an amazing person, and I love her. I'm grateful for her.
She has a pretty cool mama, and I'm sure like families with uncles and aunties and all of that to reflect what it's like to have freedom and to love life, and not just to kind of be getting by or struggling. And it was like Mark Allen that you were saying, I think of, you don't have to reach burnout to achieve. And so many people's stories are like, oh, I did this and I stayed up for like 3 years and didn't sleep or eat or whatever, and for 3 years. But it's like that, isn't it, where people tell their story and that's how they do make it big or whatever. It's their message, but it doesn't have to be your message. You don't have to kill yourself to live. Like, it's that really and I love hearing that, because sometimes I know that particularly I'm harsh on myself or push myself, or I am someone who goes to the extremes with things, like whether it's full intensity or fully slowing down. And I know that for me it's really hard when you're always being super intense to actually back it up, or to go, I'm going to sleep in and I'm going to do this. And that for me has come through self-love, and it's something that I'm still working on. It's like, I'm not perfect at it, but I'm trying to forgive myself and being as patient as I would be with somebody else. And I'm super patient and super forgiving and super loving to
with other
basically
people, right?
everybody, but
Yeah.
But if I'm not doing that for myself, then there has to be that level of it not being completely unconditional as well, and not really understanding or embodying it. So I want to look into more of your stuff. I'm going to look at your books and see whether I can start ordering some of those as well, just to like be in it and being like surrounded by people who are embodying self-love. And you know, I think it's going to be a forever journey for most people. Like, you don't just kind of go, oh, I mastered self-love, all good, I'm moving on to my next thing. It's like,
I feel like as long as we're here in this physical realm, you will never have that shit figured out. There is always something, because we're not here alone.
Yeah.
So there's always something to there's always something new to learn, always something new to experience. And you got to be okay with that. Like you got to make it up in your mind. Like, no matter what happens, I am devoted to showing up for myself. You know, I am devoted to giving myself the compassion that I need for today. I am devoted to forgiving myself for doing that silly shit right there. You just gotta show up for yourself. You know, you gotta keep. Sometimes you just gotta keep forgiving yourself. You know, and it's a lifelong journey. The devotion is lifelong. Like, it's a lifelong commitment. Kind of like the same way when people get married and, you know, they stand before God and stand before their witnesses and say, you know, till death do us part. Like, literally, for yourself, is until you are up out of here, you got to make the commitment, because that commitment that we make to other people may not necessarily last for a lifetime. People get divorced. People leave your life. People even leave through death. Yeah. And when they leave, you're still here. So you're the first person that you should be making the commitment to. Yeah.
Yeah. We should start a business of like, marry yourself first.
I actually, let me tell you, I actually do. I've actually do and have done self-commitment ceremonies for people.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Yeah. I have. I sure have. It's I first started it in 2018, and I told myself, you know, and I've actually had people pay for the service, you know, to actually do it. And I said, I need to probably take this to a larger scale and have more people do it. Just make that commitment to yourself. It's a major commitment, but it's so worth it. You know, it's so worth it.
Wow. Yeah. I actually just love you. Like, it's weird. I'm like, you are so wonderfully like authentic and so powerful in your message. And it's, you know, when we come back to taking ownership and really stepping into our own power. And I know that a lot of this, I talk about like me, or stepping into you, or whatever it is. We really do have to come back and peel away all of the layers first before we're making clear decisions, because there's so many illusions going on in the world. Like, it's even to the point of my teacher in yoga.
You feel free to keep talking. I got you.
Cool. No worries. It's like our vision. Like, most people can see things and go, oh, that's a pretty color. But even our eyes have, I think we can only see like 0.03% of the light scale, which is really interesting. Like, and it just goes to show how deceived we are, or like how much we're not seeing the bigger picture or the clear picture. And it's just, I could talk about this stuff for those 3 years of no sleep, if you know what I'm saying.
Got you. Yeah.
Lakai, what would be your top resources that you would recommend for people that's really helped you, or that's just like, you know, your favorite podcast or song at the moment, something that's speaking to you?
I would definitely say one of my favorite songs right now is let's see, I want to get her name right.
Yeah.
In 1 second, let me look her up. See if it'll let me pull this young lady's information up.
Perfect.
I actually listened to the song in meditation mode.
Oh, how beautiful. Yes.
And her name is, let's see. Natalie Lauren. The name of the song is God, G-O-D, Morning. And it's a beautiful, beautiful song just about showing up for yourself. That's one of my favorite songs right now.
Beautiful.
I also have another favorite song by King, the female group King, K-I-N-G.
Yep.
Called Outside the Blue. And that is a beautiful song as well. I love those songs. As far as tools, I would definitely say get the book, 50 Ways to Love Yourself Now, the official self-love manifesto. And that is, hold on, I'm trying to get back to you.
That's all right. I can see you, but you're frozen on my screen.
There we go.
I'm impressed that
I'm back.
You've got the girl back. Love it. You're so like me, driving, but like also eating and also like trying to work out the phone. I'm like, how have I not crashed
trying
yet?
to work it out. I'm sitting at a stoplight, thankfully.
Good.
That book though was full of tools to help you show up for yourself. And also, I think the biggest thing that I would definitely want to just remind people is, no matter what podcast, no matter what song, no matter what book you grab, you are the vessel. All of these things are external reminders of how you get back to you, but essentially it's you who has to do the work. These are just tools to help you get there, to help remind you that you are the jewel, you are the diamond, you are the amethyst. You are the one in control of all of this. So those are the things that I suggest. I definitely would also suggest time off with social media, time away from books, time away from the news, time away from all of that. Like, learn to spend time alone. Very, very, very important, because everything else, a lot of times, is really just a distraction,
Oh, you speak to my soul 100%. I needed to hear that today. And like, I think it's really important as well in a world where, a lot of stuff is going online, and there is a lot of push for online business, and even the way that we connected was online. But to remind ourselves that when we switch that off, if that app didn't exist, like, who am I and what do I love to do and what do I enjoy? And like, go and do that thing. Allow yourself to be bored, or allow yourself to be uncomfortable, or, just go outside and go, I don't even know why I'm walking here. Like, it's weird or whatever. It's like, just do it.
Just do it, and face yourself. A lot of times we don't want to turn all the stuff off. We don't want to put the Instagram down, and because you don't want to deal with your thoughts.
Yeah.
You don't want to deal with the things that you've been hiding. You don't want to deal with your pain. And face yourself, though. That's so much clarity starts surfacing. Now, it's challenging at first. It's painful at first, especially if you've had a life that's been filled with trauma, if you've experienced like heartbreak, if you had a hard time giving and letting go. It's not gonna be easy.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be worth it though. Once you get to the other side, like once I consistently got to the point to where I started just showing up for myself, I hit a sweet spot, and I was just like, oh my God, why hadn't I done this sooner? I wish I had done this sooner. It took me ending my last relationship and focusing on myself to really say, and really, although that relationship, it took its toll, but it was my own fault because I knew that I was not in alignment with that situation. I knew that it wasn't in my best interest to stay and remain, but I just kept feeling like it would hurt more to let go. So I stayed, and that's just one of the reasons I stayed, besides, feeling like I didn't want to abandon my family. And like, there was so many things going on in my mind, but I ultimately got to the realization that I had abandoned myself,
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of us find ourselves at that point, like giving more of ourselves to a companion or a job or a situation. We'll give more to that situation than we do for ourselves. But then we end up depleted,
Totally, girl. And it's like the things that we can't see. When you were saying that, I just wanted to share that was only like maybe a few days ago or last week, I could look in the mirror and actually felt like I loved myself. And it's like, I want to emphasize that it's not about what I look like as such, but it was like being able to stare at yourself in the mirror and go, I like the person that I love the person that I am and who I'm going to continue to be. But I would love to know your perspective on like what your internal mirror is. Because like I was saying, when I was looking at myself, it's such an external thing of like, oh, my hair's this color, my eyes are this color, my legs are this shape. But what I felt when I felt that feeling of self-love was just like, everything is in an alignment, and I can't explain it until you've felt it. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if you've got any more words to eloquently explain that before we wrap it up, girly.
Explain like how it feels to do that, or
or like what even like maybe what your perspective is with looking at yourself in the mirror, and what if you've ever done any mirror kind of work.
Absolutely. There is actually a chapter in the book called Conversations in the Mirror.
Well, and maybe I just have to get it.
You will greatly enjoy it. There's a digital version too, because I know sometimes it can be a little pricey sending this stuff to the other side of the globe, but there is also a digital version and you get it immediately.
Well, I want both because I love the hardcover, but I also want it immediately. So
awesome. Hey, we got both options for you. Conversations in the mirror. There was a time in my life to where I hated when I looked in the mirror. So that Conversations in the Mirror is so important, super, super important chapter.
Yeah.
But standing in the mirror and staring in your own eyes.
Yes.
And learning to just kind of ask yourself questions. Say I love you. Like, a great deal of people don't even know how to do that. There was a time where I didn't know how to do that. I didn't even know it was necessary. I didn't even know what it would look like, And the first time that I showed up for myself to do it, I was uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
I was very, very uncomfortable with it. But when I tell you it is a black diamond in the self-love journey, because if you get to the point to where you can look into your own eyes and just do it, start doing it every morning. I would say show up and do it. Show up for yourself 7 days in a row and do it. Right before you brush your teeth, maybe after. If you don't want to smell your own breath, do it after you brush your teeth. And just stand there, even if it's just for a minute, and just say, hey, I love you. And just do it. And just look into your own eyes. When I tell you, you'll begin to see a shift in how you feel when you look in the mirror. It's mirror magic. It is mirror magic. I hold whole conversations now. I encourage myself now. I speak words of affirmation now, but there was a time where I didn't even like what I saw when I looked in the mirror. So conversations in the mirror are very, very, very important. And I definitely, that's one of I have self-love sessions with clients And that's one of the first things that I start suggesting, besides writing down your thoughts, writing down how you feel. Conversations in the mirror is a powerful piece, and it will definitely shift how you start seeing yourself.
I'm looking forward to. Sorry, you
I'm
finished.
sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say definitely long mirrors too. You know, there's usually the bathroom mirror when you brush your teeth. But let me tell you, the full body mirrors, woo, can't hide.
Sam, you see it all.
Everything. I gotta hop off and get ready to start with the rest of my day. But thank you so much for having me.
Same here, girl.
We can do this again. There's so much more to talk about.
There is so much. And like you said, let's do some Instagram lives. Let's figure out a time that works for us each week, whether, that is a regular thing or whether it's random with whatever works in with us. But I love the message that we're putting out there together. I love our vibe together. It's friggin' amazing.
It is. Let's do it. We'll talk more. We'll set it up.
Cool. You just send me through all of your the best places for people to find you, or you can quickly say that now and I'll include it in the show notes anyway, for people to get your work and all of that kind of stuff.
Okay, so my book, digital and physical copy, my t-shirts, anything Self-Love is Freedom can be found at selfloveisfreedom.com. You can find me on Instagram at selfloveisfreedom. That's my company page, which is a very new page, but my personal page is Lakai, Lakithe, the Freedom Writer. Freedom, FREEDOM WRITER. And thank you so much for having me again. I really enjoyed chatting with you.
It's been an absolute blessing, girl, and there's going to be so much more to come. So I'm looking forward to where this is going. I have no idea where it is going, but it feels like it's going to be big and beautiful, as are you. So thank you so much for agreeing to come on, and let's chat soon.
All right. Thanks so much. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Same to you, beauty.
Same to you.